Hi Gemini, thank you for joining me. I hope you guys are well. Welcome to the month of June. I'm Ruby and this is Ruby Reads Tarot. Gemini, that new moon in your sign was pretty intense, wasn't it? June, I mean, these are completely timeless reads, but I would like to say that with this eclipse in Sagittarius, it really is time to get your manifestation on, Gemini. Mercury goes into retrograde in Cancer. We've got to prepare for that. Venus is currently in retrograde and comes out of retrograde later in the month in your sign. Neptune is also going into retrograde. And a lot of the times this can put us in a bit of a I don't want to say delusional, but it can just play on our version of reality. And I feel as if with the North Node in your sign, there will be it'll bring up a lot to do with the stories you're telling yourself versus the reality of the matter. Manifestation will fall into place once you actually get your head around what it is that you truly want. North Node in your sign asks you to stop and to see where you're at in your experience and really use the sun energy, use this ego energy to figure out how close it is to the truth of yourself. I have here the King of Swords. Could be dealing with a fellow Gemini, a Libra, or an Aquarius. This is energy of yourself, however. And I feel as if you might be using your situation as an excuse to avoid doing something that might mean bringing the truth to a matter. Again, June is going to be a lot to do with your relationship with yourself. Your honesty in relationships. You know, the pretense, the lies, worth versus the real truth of the matter. Okay. So I have here the Five of Cups, the Nine of Swords, the Tower card, the Six of Swords, Gemini, followed by the Six of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. So Gemini, I think you find once Venus comes out of retrograde in your sign around the 25th of the month, you get an opportunity to create a change that I think you may have felt like you've needed for some time, and a lot of it might have to do with the change that you're willing to make yourself, with how seriously you are taking your matters of commitment. I think the give and take that may have needed to be in a relationship, like the balance is completely off. This could be with a Libra. And what may have worked for you before might be completely redundant now. I feel as if it is a really, really good time for you, Gemini, to use this Mercury retrograde in Cancer, which, let's be honest, is going to be, and with Venus in your sign in retrograde, it's going to be a lot of bringing to the surface how things have been unbalanced for you. Truths that might really need to be looked at right now. Things that you may have been avoidant of, things that you may not have wanted to see. Like, this is, again, a lot of what you're telling yourself versus the reality of the matter. I need you to think back to Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. When was that? That was Libra season, Scorpio season 2018. So late in the year 2018. Something that might have started off then comes to wrap itself up now. And I think the question you really need to ask yourself is, are you ready for your relationship with yourself to become center stage? And are you really ready to cut off the excess and stop using your situation as an excuse to avoid doing something? Are you empowering yourself, or are you letting your power hang off of what you deem to be important before? And I think you might see it as completely redundant now. Who you were in relationships. You know, only you can really answer that. And I just feel as if the real crux of June, Gemini, might mean you going back in order to be able to go forward. I think what you might find yourself faced this month with the Five of Cups, the Tower card, the Nine of Swords, and the Six of Swords, is what may have worked before is completely redundant now. The Tower card makes me feel as if there is an inevitable break. This is something that I think is perhaps welcome. This is a change in the atmosphere. This is a compulsory breakdown of something that was not built on firm foundations. This could be a frame of mind. This could be a relationship. Could be a relationship with a fellow air sign. It seems as if it has served its purpose, Gemini. And if you are to hold something up, it will really only be to your own detriment. There's Nine of Swords. This, you know, when the North Node moves into our sign, we're sort of confronted with this idea of karma and paying off karma, which is why I say to you, Gemini, it's very, very important for you to go back to the self-care, go back to the relationship with self, go back to when it all began, and ask yourself why it is that you may have felt as if you have needed to hold control or hold power or dominance over a situation, or even been the recipient of somebody else exerting power over you. It seems to be a real power game here, which may have created this illusion, but it's really very far away from what is actually emotionally contenting, emotionally fulfilling. I've got here the Five of Cups and the Six of Swords. When the Tower hits and the cups fall, it would behoove you to make peace with that spilling which doesn't serve you, and to accept that whatever you move forward with is more than enough. Just be willing to take what is precious to you and move. This is your season, and the more flexible you are in it, the less likely you are to be stuck here. Mars is going into Aries, ready for a fight. Ultimately, you don't have that kind of energy right now, Gemini, to spare. And the more flexible and the more tolerant you are, and the more you apply a more prudent and mature approach to things that you may have known, but you decided to ignore, you chose to ignore. Maybe even assessing yourself correctly. Are you distorting your image of yourself in a self-deprecating way, Gemini? The call to move away from something that you once knew that's falling apart around you in a good way, Gemini, because I don't think those Nine of Swords have been conducive to you getting any sleep, getting any rest. And it's like I said, it's a matter of working through that karma, and once it's cleared, you're free to move. And if you choose to move in a direction of a more balanced, a more emotionally contented direction, which I think you are ready to do, you find yourself, come the end of the month, a lot more emotionally contented and with a victory behind you and in your stride. This makes me think of the Sagittarius eclipse, the full moon lunar eclipse. you need to pick a direction, and I think you need to like really picture and decide now where it is that you want to go, because the energy is there should you decide it's time to go. This Neptune retrograde, this Mercury retrograde, all this like watery emotion might really have you feeling, all this watery energy might really have you feeling like you're losing a lot more than you are. And it might be at a detriment to you, Gemini, but you stand at a great place of being quite authentic and true to yourself, which I really think June might need of you. You might kind of need to be invested in yourself for a little bit. I think you may have diluted yourself a lot, and you may have been pouring into a lot of everybody else's cups but your own. And that's one great way to deplete yourself. It truly is. I just feel as if you have a better chance of not causing yourself so much so many sleepless nights, so much worry, by kind of accepting that an intervention needed to take place. I feel like you were surrounded by a lot of disillusionment, Gemini. And it may have been creating blocks for you because your energy just wasn't there. It may have been uneven give and take. It may have been a whole bunch of control games. And you decide. And I think you should really decide that your future kind of really needs you, but you need to, with this Pluto and Jupiter retrograde in Capricorn, you need to be really pragmatic about where it is you're going next, and plan and decide. And be flexible and be open. And dream big, why not? Get your finances right, save some money. See Page of Pentacles. There is a new opportunity, Gemini, that might be making its way to you in regards to how you make money. I think what was already set up, established, might require a lot of change. And it might even mean that you head out in a new direction. And a lot of it might mean that you're doing it by yourself. Don't discredit yourself. You have everything that you need behind you right now. Two of Cups. It could be something to do with a romantic relationship that comes through. It could be a union or a business partnership. I think it might have something to do with an investment, might have something to do with partnerships in regards to finances and material gains. I think also, Gemini, that you would do yourself a lot of favors by saving right now, anticipating the end of something, perhaps with a Scorpio, could be with a fellow air sign. But this eclipse, this Venus retrograde, this Neptune retrograde, very obviously wants to put an end to something that just was not, it was never more than this. It was always like a headache. It was always a pain in the ass. It was always something that took more energy from you. And if you're not willing to get rid of that, and if you're not willing to like accept that your heart really needs to come first right now, and you kind of really need to work with your own duality instead of staring into the face of defeat, you can balance this. There will be an element of getting both twins on the same page though, however, Gemini. I wouldn't even be surprised if you leave the month having gone through this very karmic, very heavy Venus retrograde and cleared the karma this North Node wants you to address, and do things, make the changes, take the chance, you know, just take a leap, move forward, be flexible, start anew, even if that means downsize. There is a real potential for victory, Gemini. There's also a real potential for overcoming relationship issues. I think that will have to start with your relationship with self and what you tell yourself ultimately. You will do yourself a really good favor to get away from whatever the universe is indicating for you. Enough is enough. Downgrade, get back to the drawing board. The movement, keep the flow going. Do not let yourself become stagnant and blocked. Keep the flow moving. Keep yourself exercising. Keep yourself eating well. Keep yourself sleeping on time. Limit very much the amount of energy that you are giving to others at the moment, because I feel you will really deplete yourself. And this full moon brings with it like a turbo engine, all this power for you to shoot off in a direction that you know is going to lead to a lot more emotional contentment, potential of meeting a soulmate after this Venus retrograde. Just don't. It's not good energy. Venus retrograde will always bring out the muck in the relationships that need to be cleared. If you're looking to start a new relationship, wait. If you can, if you can't, it is what it is. There is, however, a real need, Gemini, for you to clear out a relationship or a frame of thinking even, or a frame of being that has just come to an end now. This, I think, was a bit of an intervention for you, Gemini, because there's a lot of emphasis on ending. And I think you will really benefit if you can accept that who you were before you are no longer. And who you are now, and the things that you might have carried through with your relationships, modalities, frames of thinking, they just don't fit anymore. The time is different. You're not that person. And if you have been feeling disempowered because of lack of balance in a relationship, it would really serve you to get both twins on board and really invest this period into replenishing your true identity. Who are you? What is important to you? I feel as if love is strong this month. And I feel like there will be an opportunity for you to find yourself perhaps moving and perhaps in more of a direction of feeling celebrated. And a victory in love. This to me, I think, is someone new. And it could very well be somebody younger. If not younger, I think this has a lot to do with committing to the truth of who you are now. Temperance, Sagittarius card, could possibly be with a Sagittarius. An emotional beginning with a Sagittarius. Gemini, I would really focus on your heart chakra this month. I sell these hand-wrapped pieces of rose quartz. They're on my Etsy store. Just search Rubyreadstarot, and I apply Reiki to them. They're good to wear around the heart to keep the heart chakra open, the flow of energy moving through. This month, movement, working on the heart chakra, wearing pink, wearing green will be really beneficial for you, especially if you're trying to get yourself out of a very tricky relocation or breakup. Rose quartz, I think, is really important. Keep that heart open, keep the flow of energy open, make sure you're in constant movement, and I think allow yourself a little bit of downtime when you need it, right? When you need to get still, when you need the rest, when you need to sleep, when you need to just switch off the phone, social network, all of it. It's going to be really important for you because you don't want information overload with all of this energy in your sign. You'll find yourself massively depleted. So remember to unplug and plug into source. whenever you do feel down. I think that's all I have for you. To book a reading, visit rubyreadstarot.com. Donations to the channel are greatly appreciated. You can find out where to do so in the description box. I'm Ruby. Happy birthday again, guys. Have a wonderful month. I think this intervention kind of needed to take place, so let me know how you guys get on. Take care.